A little bit of trial by fire, but I had some good help, some good mentors, and I had a little bit of background. You know, when you have your own horses, you learn. The previous owner was a wealth of knowledge as far as how to run the mill, as far as basics of feeding a horse, and why do you do this in this certain situation. Um, and so when I took over, we just kind of continued along the lines of what he was doing. Um, and then in 2020, um, I hired a company called Performance Horse Nutrition. That's Dr. Steve Duran and Dr. Tanya Cubitt to be our in-house consulting nutritionist. Um, they basically, I handed them the keys to the business and said, "Hey, we have a really good product. Make it great."
Yeah.
So what they do is they looked at all of our feeds, everything we were doing as far as volumes of each different um, type of feed we had, where we had overlaps, where we could cut products, where we could improve products, and where we could add new feeds at. So we got rid of a lot of feeds because they were just redundant, they were overlapped. They weren't popular. There's some feeds that were selling 10 bags a year. There's no sense in paying your registrations and keeping up with bags and formulas and all that. They also reformulated some of the feeds for the latest developments and research, as far as what goes into feed, what goes into making a good feed, how to get the right results in the horse. Um, Also, as over time, how we manage horses changes. So they incorporate that into their design of feeds. Um, and we've added a few new microingredients into the feeds. One of them being organic chromium to help with insulin resistance, Cushing's laminitis, those sorts of things. It also helps with recovery because you're a rider. Horses are really good at expending energy. They're really not good at recovery because they're herd animals or pasture animals. They graze 16 to 18 hours a day. We don't always manage them that way. But in nature, yeah, they can expend some energy to get away from danger. Then they're going to go back to grazing. If we're playing polo, if we're eventing, if we're fox hunting, track horses racing, it's a huge expenditure of energy, and then we want them to do it again the next day or the day after. So some of the things we put in the feeds aids in that recovery. Chromium is one of them. We also started using a marine calcium derivative, or it's a marine calcium made from algae, to help with bone density in growing horses as well as acid buffering. With Performance Horse Nutrition, whenever I have a question, I call and say, "Hey, how do I handle this situation? I got a customer with a horse that's having X, Y, and Z issue," and they've really helped train me in saying, "All right, what do you think you should do?" I give them my answer, and they'll say, "Okay, well, did you think about this? Did you look at this? Did you look at all the different things?" And I generally tell people, look, I can handle one issue. If your horse needs to gain weight, if it needs top line, if it needs, if it's too hot, I can handle one issue. So when somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I need help with my horse," or you go to a farm, "Hey, I got this horse. It's got allergies. It's got this," and they name 5 or 6 different things. Hold on, let's get the nutritionist on the call, or they just call. I just say, "Hey, here's Dr. Cubitt's number. Here's Dr. Duran's number. Call them. I'll let them know you're going to call. They'll triage the situation the best they can. They'll call. They'll work with the vets. They'll help us provide a good service to give the right answer."
Yep.
I had a vet call us or come in a couple weeks ago. Say, "Hey, look, we got a horse recently imported having all these issues. What do you think?" Well, let's talk to the nutritionist and see if we can attack it from this angle. Nutritionist recommendation was possible leaky gut because of the stress of importing and getting climatized in South Carolina versus Northern Europe. Made a recommendation on a supplement to deal with leaky gut, as well as we pulled a feed sample, sent it off to the lab to look and see is there any is there any alpha toxins or any microtoxins? Is there anything in this feed that's contributing to this horse's condition? Um, and we were able to all sit down together and kind of brainstorm and come up with a better triage answer that the vet just by themselves,
Yeah.
you know, might not have gotten to as quick. You know, they probably would have gotten there eventually, but it's nice when you just come in here, ask a question, and I can reach out for the customer to bring in as many answers as possible. And the other good thing about them is they have a guy, one of their partners used to own LMS Feed.
Okay.
He actually lives here in Aiken half the year. So if I have a mill question, a procedures question, a formulation question, hey, how do I get this ingredient to bind right? How do we blend this correctly? He's a phone call away. And he's also good, the business side, how when we go to a farm, what's the best approach for this? Um, just kind of those having it's nice having a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
They can just help you out. They can guide you. That we've already retained their services, and they also have a girl in the office that does a lot of graphic design.
Mm.
So we call her and say, hey, we're looking for, this poster, something about electrolytes, or when spring comes, we'll be talking about electrolytes more, or in the fall, colic prevention, because that's
Mm-hmm.
when the temperatures change, you get more colic issues. We need something to go with this, or we're wanting to roll out a new product. Can you come up with two, a poster and a social media ad, or hey, we want to redesign a bag, and she's really good at that. She has a knack for knowing how to place things and how to color things.